Maya Chen stood before the gleaming gates of the Centauri Institute of Advanced Sciences, her heart pounding against her ribcage. The massive structure floated in the void of space, its crystalline spires catching the light of 3 distant suns. Her acceptance had shocked the scientific community back on Earth, the first human ever admitted to the galaxy's most prestigious research institution. The airlock cycled with a soft hiss, and Maya stepped into the reception area. She'd expected some reaction from the welcoming committee, but not this. The assembled aliens, representing species from across known space, collectively drew back. A tall crystalline being quickly erected an energy barrier between them and her. Maya fought the urge to sigh. She'd read about this reaction in her briefing materials, but experiencing it firsthand was another matter entirely. "Welcome, Terran Chen," came a melodious voice through her universal translator. The speaker was Administrator Vexexi, a being composed of what appeared to be flowing liquid metal contained within an ornate environmental suit. "We have prepared specialized containment, accommodations for your unique requirements." Maya smiled carefully, keeping her lips closed to avoid showing teeth. "Thank you for this opportunity. I look forward to studying alongside the galaxy's finest minds." A ripple of what might have been nervous laughter spread through the assembled faculty. One small, avian being with iridescent feathers whispered to another, the translator catching fragments. "Actually volunteered. Death world. Primitive warfare evolution." The walk to her quarters was telling. The administrators kept a careful distance, their environmental suits' readouts clearly showing elevated stress responses. Maya's quarters, she discovered, were in a specially reinforced wing of the station, complete with warning signs in 17 different languages. The most common word that appeared was Deathworlder. "Your living space has been calibrated to Earth standard conditions," Administrator Vexexi explained, their liquid metal form rippling with what might have been anxiety. "For your comfort, we've included reinforced walls, independent life support, and a dedicated quantum communication link to your home planet's medical facilities." Maya looked around the spacious room, noting the subtle force field generators at every corner. "This seems excessive for a physics student." Yes. About your academic track." Vexexi's form rippled again. "The faculty has made some adjustments to your course load, given your unique biological capabilities." Maya's heart sank as she reviewed the modified schedule on her datapad. Instead of the advanced quantum mechanics courses she'd applied for, her schedule was filled with safe alternatives. Introduction to non-level physics, theoretical mathematics for high-gravity species, ethics of Deathworld research applications. "There must be some mistake," Maya said, fighting to keep her voice level. "I was admitted based on my research proposal on quantum entanglement in biological systems." "Yes, most impressive work," Vexexi responded, keeping a careful distance. However, the safety committee felt that allowing a Terran access to advanced particle physics might be premature. "We wouldn't want any accidents." Maya took a deep breath, remembering her diplomatic training. She was here not just as a student, but as humanity's representative. "Administrator, I understand your concerns, but I didn't come here to be contained. I came to learn, to contribute, to work alongside the greatest minds in the galaxy. Please, give me a chance to prove myself." Vexexi's liquid metal form swirled in what might have been consideration. "Perhaps a compromise. If you can demonstrate sufficient control in your basic courses, we might revisit your original schedule. After proper safety protocols are established, of course." "Thank you," Maya said. It wasn't ideal, but it was a start. As Vexexi prepared to leave, they paused at the doorway. "One more thing, Terran Chen. Your species' reputation precedes you. Stories of your world, Earth, have spread through the academic community. A planet of such extreme conditions that it produces beings capable of surviving radiation levels that would kill most species, of continuing physical activity with multiple broken bones, of digesting substances toxic to 90% of known life forms. We've never had a student quite like you. Maya watched them go, then turned to look out her window at the vast expanse of space. The stars looked different from here, but they were the same ones she'd gazed up at as a child in Singapore, dreaming of this moment. She hadn't come this far to be treated like a dangerous animal in a zoo. Opening her personal terminal, Maya began composing a message to the physics department. If they wouldn't let her take advanced courses, she'd prove her worth through independent research. Her original proposal on quantum entanglement might have scared them, but she had other ideas. Ideas that might help bridge the gap between her death world biology and their advanced technology. As she worked late into the station's night cycle, Maya couldn't help but smile at the warning signs surrounding her room. They thought she was dangerous because she could survive conditions they found lethal. But they hadn't considered that the same adaptations that made humans resilient also made them incredibly adaptable. And adaptability, she knew, was the key to not just survival, but understanding. Tomorrow would be her first day of classes. They expected a dangerous death worlder. She would show them a scientist instead. Maya's first week at the Centauri Institute proved more challenging than she'd anticipated. Her introduction to non-lethal physics class was particularly frustrating. The professor, a gaseous being named Dr. Helix who existed within a complex containment field, spent more time monitoring Maya's movements than teaching. During a practical demonstration of gravitational field manipulation, Maya noticed something odd about the equations displayed on the holoscreen. She raised her hand, careful to move slowly as she'd learned after causing 3 students to activate their emergency shields on her first day. Dr. Helix, the resonance calculations seemed to assume a single gravitational constant, but wouldn't that change based on the local space-time curvature? The classroom fell silent. Dr. Helix's gaseous form swirled with what might have been surprise. "That's correct, Terran Chen. Most first-cycle students don't notice such subtleties. On Earth, we have to account for gravitational variations in our everyday technology," Maya explained. "Otherwise, our devices would malfunction at different altitudes or locations." This sparked an unexpected discussion. Several students, particularly a crystalline being named Zix 427, began asking questions about Earth's gravity. Maya found herself explaining how humans had adapted to life on a planet that most species considered a death trap. "You mean your species builds habitats on active tectonic plates?" Zix 427's facets flickered with what Maya had learned to recognize as fascination. "How do you compensate for the constant crustal movement?" "We've learned to build flexibility into our structures," Maya said. "Sometimes, working with natural forces is more effective than trying to completely control them." This simple comment led to her first breakthrough. After class, Zix 427 approached her, still maintaining a safe distance, but closer than any student had dared before. "Your perspective on adaptive engineering is intriguing. Would you be willing to review my research on crystalline architecture? Perhaps your experience with dynamic systems could be valuable." Maya's heart leaped at this first sign of academic collaboration. Over the next few days, she worked with Zix 427, helping them incorporate principles of flexible design into their crystalline construction methods. Word spread through the institute about their collaboration, and gradually, other students began to see past their fear of her death worlder status. But not everyone was convinced. During a practical laboratory session in safe materials handling, Maya encountered her first real crisis. The class was working with quantum unstable compounds, each student sealed in their own containment field. Maya's field suddenly flickered and failed, a malfunction that should have been impossible given the redundant safety systems. The instructor, Professor Van X, a multi-limbed being specialized in handling dangerous materials, moved to evacuate the class. But Maya had already assessed the situation. The quantum unstable compound was beginning to destabilize, its containment vessel showing microscopic cracks. "Everyone out," Professor Van X ordered, their translator barely keeping up with their rapid chemical language. But Maya stayed. Her Deathworlder physiology meant she could survive brief exposure to the compound's radiation. Moving with careful precision, she reached for the backup containment unit. Terran Chen, stop. The radiation levels are within my tolerance range. Maya finished, her hand steadied as she transferred the compound. Humans evolved under constant solar radiation. We've developed cellular repair mechanisms that can handle short-term exposure. The entire class watched in amazement as Maya safely contained the material. When she finally stepped back, her hands slightly reddened but otherwise unharmed, Professor Van X's sensory appendages were vibrating with what might have been astonishment. You deliberately expose yourself to protect the laboratory. It was the logical solution, Maya said simply. My biology made me the best equipped to handle the situation. That incident marked a turning point. The faculty began to realize that what they had considered dangerous adaptations could also be invaluable assets. Maya's Deathworlder characteristics weren't just about survival. They represented millions of years of evolutionary problem-solving. By the end of the week, Maya had been approached by 3 different research teams seeking her input on projects involving extreme conditions. Her original quantum entanglement proposal was even being reconsidered, with several professors expressing interest in its potential applications. During a late-night study session in her quarters, Maya received an unexpected message from Administrator Vexexe. Her request to join the Advanced Physics program had been approved, with certain safety modifications, but more importantly, the message contained something else, a proposal for a new course she would help develop, titled Adaptive Engineering: Lessons from Extreme Environments. Maya smiled as she read the course description. Finally, they were beginning to understand. Being a Deathworlder wasn't just about being dangerous. It was about being resourceful, adaptable, and able to thrive in conditions that others found impossible. And those were exactly the qualities that the next generation of galactic scientists would need. The Centauri Institute's central research hub hummed with activity as Maya worked late into the station's night cycle. Her quantum entanglement project had finally been approved, and she was making up for lost time. The only other occupant in the lab was Zix 427, who had become something of a regular research partner despite their initial fear of her Deathworlder status. The first warning sign came as a subtle vibration through the deck plates. Maya noticed it immediately. Another Deathworlder trait, her instinctive awareness of environmental changes that might signal danger. Zix 427's crystalline form showed no reaction. Did you feel that? Maya asked, already moving to secure their experimental apparatus. Feel what? My sensors detect no. Zix 427's response was cut short by a massive shudder that ran through the entire station. Warning lights flashed to life as the station's AI announced in multiple languages. Critical failure detected in primary fusion containment. All personnel evacuate to designated safety zones. Maya's blood ran cold. The station's fusion reactor powered everything from life support to the artificial gravity. If it was failing, all safety zones are equipped with independent life support and shielding, Zix 427 explained, their crystalline form vibrating with anxiety. We shoaled. Another violent shudder rocked the station. The lights flickered, and Maya's datapad displayed an updated emergency alert. Safety Zone 2 through 7 compromised. Containment fields failing. Radiation levels rising in sectors 12 through 19. That's most of the residential areas. Maya realized, her mind racing. How many people? 2,417 students and faculty. Zix 427 responded. But the remaining safety zones can't possibly accommodate. Maya was already moving. We need to get to engineering. There has to be a way to stabilize the reactor. Impossible. The radiation levels between here and engineering are already lethal to most species. Even the emergency response teams can't. Zix 427 stopped, their crystals gleaming with sudden understanding. But you're a Deathworlder. Maya nodded grimly. Human cellular repair mechanisms can handle short-term radiation exposure. It won't be comfortable, but I can make it. I'm coming with you, Zix 427 declared. My crystalline structure provides some radiation resistance, and my knowledge of the station's systems might be useful. They raced through corridors that were rapidly emptying as others fled to the remaining safety zones. Maya's path took them through increasingly dangerous areas, her datapad warning of rising radiation levels. She could feel the effects. A slight burning sensation on her skin, a metallic taste in her mouth. But her body was holding up. When they reached engineering, they found chaos. The few remaining technicians were struggling to contain the cascade failure, their environmental suits already showing signs of radiation damage. The magnetic containment field is collapsing. Chief Engineer Vax, a being of pure energy contained within an advanced environmental suit, explained rapidly. We can't get close enough to manually realign the field generators. The radiation would kill us instantly. Maya studied the reactor schematics on the main display. How long before total containment failure? 17 minutes. After that, Vax's energy form flickered anxiously. What about the backup systems? Damaged in the initial surge, we'd need to reset them from the primary control room, but the radiation levels there are beyond lethal. Maya took a deep breath. Beyond lethal for most species, not for a human. The room fell silent. Vax's energy form pulsed with disbelief. You can't be serious. Even with your adaptations, the exposure would be extreme. Do we have a choice? Maya asked quietly. She turned to Zix 427. Can you guide me through the reset procedure? The crystalline being's facets flickered with determination. The process isn't complex, but you'll need perfect timing. I can talk you through it from here. Maya nodded, already moving toward the radiation-flooded control room. Chief Vax, be ready to reinitialize the containment field the moment the backup systems come online. The next 10 minutes were a blur of pain and focused determination. Maya fought through radiation levels that would have killed most species instantly, her hand steady as she followed Zix 427's instructions to reset the backup systems. Her skin burned, her vision blurred, but she kept going. This wasn't just about survival anymore. It was about proving that humanity's Deathworlder traits could be used to protect and save, not just destroy. When the backup systems finally came online, and the containment field stabilized, Maya stumbled back to engineering. Medical drones were already waiting, their scanners registering radiation damage that should have been fatal. But Maya was still standing, her cells already beginning their remarkable process of repair and regeneration. Impossible, one of the medical technicians muttered, reviewing her readings. No species should be able to survive that level of exposure, let alone remain functional. Maya managed a weak smile. Sometimes the impossible just means you haven't met a human yet. The crisis had been averted, but its impact would resonate through the Centauri Institute for years to come. The same biological adaptations that had caused so much fear, human resilience, radiation resistance, cellular regeneration, had just saved thousands of lives. Being a Deathworlder wasn't a curse. It was a responsibility, a set of capabilities that could be used to protect and preserve life in all its forms. The aftermath of the reactor crisis transformed Maya's life at the Centauri Institute. Her morning began not with fearful glances and emergency shields, but with a message from Administrator Vexexi requesting her presence at an emergency faculty meeting. As she entered the Grand Assembly Hall, she noticed the warning signs that had once marked her as dangerous were conspicuously absent. Terran Chen. Administrator Vexixi's liquid metal form rippled with what she now recognized as respect. The Institute's Board of Directors has reviewed the events of the reactor crisis. Your actions saved not only countless lives, but also decades of irreplaceable research. Maya sat quietly, still feeling the lingering effects of radiation exposure. Her cellular repair mechanisms were working overtime, but human biology had its limits. Dr. Helix, her former physics professor, noticed her discomfort. Perhaps we should consider this meeting's true purpose, the gaseous being suggested. Our understanding of Terran capabilities requires significant revision. The assembly hall erupted in discussion. Species from across the galaxy debated the implications of what they'd witnessed. A human had not only survived radiation levels considered universally lethal, but had maintained enough cognitive function to execute complex technical procedures. If I may, Maya spoke up, her voice cutting through the chaos. I think we've all been looking at this wrong. Yes, humans evolved on what you call a death world. Yes, we have adaptations that seem extreme by galactic standards. But these aren't weapons, they're tools. Tools that can be used to protect, to save, to advance our shared scientific understanding. A silence fell over the room. Professor Van X, who had once feared having Maya in their laboratory, extended several appendages in a gesture of agreement. The student speaks wisdom. We have focused so much on the potential dangers of human biology that we overlooked its potential benefits. Which brings us to our proposal, Administrator Vex Exi announced. Terran Chen, we would like you to help establish a new research division. Extreme Environment Applications. Your experience bridging the gap between human capabilities and galactic science makes you uniquely qualified. Maya blinked in surprise. A whole research division. Indeed. Vexixi continued. Already, we've received requests from 17 different species wanting to study how human adaptations might be applied to their own survival challenges. Your friend Zix 427's crystalline architecture project has particularly intriguing implications for planetary colonization. The meeting marked the beginning of a new era at the Institute. In the days that followed, Maya's quarters became a hub of intellectual exchange. Students who had once flooded her approach now sought her out, eager to learn how human perspectives might apply to their own research. Zix 427 brought their entire research team to one such session, their crystalline forms refracting light across Maya's walls as they excitedly discussed their latest breakthrough. By incorporating principles from human bone structure into our crystalline matrices, we've increased structural flexibility by 300% while maintaining integrity. Even Dr. Helix, who had once monitored Maya like a potential threat, now floated comfortably in her presence. Your species' instinctive understanding of gravitational forces has revolutionized our approach to spatial dynamics. 3 separate research teams have requested your input on their projects. The station's medical bay became another unexpected center of collaboration. Dr. Lin, the chief cynobiologist, had been studying the readings from Maya's radiation exposure. Your cellular repair mechanisms are fascinating, they explained, their bioluminescent tentacles pulsing with excitement. We're developing new radiation treatment protocols based on our analysis of your recovery. But it was a late-night conversation with Zix 427 that truly highlighted how much had changed. The crystalline being had come to discuss their latest project, but ended up asking a more personal question. When you first arrived, we all thought you were dangerous because you could survive conditions that would kill us. They admitted, their facets dimming with embarrassment. But now I understand. It's not about survival alone, is it? It's about how you use those abilities. Maya smiled, remembering her first days at the Institute. Humans have a saying. It's not what you're capable of. It's what you choose to do with those capabilities. Everything that makes us seem dangerous, our strength, our resilience, our adaptability. These are the same traits that let us protect, build, and explore. And now, Zix 427's crystals sparkled with curiosity. Now we're learning from each other. Your species' crystalline technology, combined with our understanding of flexible structures, could help build safer habitats on tectonically active planets. Dr. Helix's research on gaseous physics, merged with our experience in extreme environments, might revolutionize atmospheric terraforming. As they talked into the night, Maya realized that the warning signs and containment fields had been replaced by something far more valuable: understanding. The same traits that had once marked humans as dangerous deathworlders were now being studied, appreciated, and integrated into galactic science. It wasn't just about proving humans weren't a threat. It was about showing how different species could complement each other's strengths. 6 months after the reactor crisis, Maya stood in the Institute's grand presentation hall, facing an audience that included representatives from every major scientific institution in the galaxy. Her original quantum entanglement research had evolved into something far more significant than anyone could have predicted. Project Synthesis represents a new approach to quantum communications. Maya began, her voice steady despite her nervousness. By combining human neural plasticity with crystalline quantum matrices, we've created a system that can maintain stable entanglement in conditions previously thought impossible. Behind her, a holographic display showed the experimental results. Zix 427, now her official research partner, operated the controls with precise movements of their crystalline appendages. The data was compelling. Quantum signals remaining coherent through radiation storms, gravitational distortions, and even the chaos of fold space travel. The key breakthrough came from an unexpected source. Maya continued. Human neural adaptation. Our ability to maintain consciousness through extreme physical stress inspired a new way of stabilizing quantum states. What we once considered a survival trait has become the foundation for revolutionary technology. The audience was captivated. Dr. Hillix's gaseous form swirled with excitement as they asked. The applications for deep space exploration would be unlimited. Zix 427 finished. We've already successfully tested the system in conditions that would destroy conventional quantum communicators. The human concept of working with chaos rather than against it has proven remarkably effective. Administrator Vexexi rose from their seat, their liquid metal form gleaming under the presentation hall's lights. Terran Chen, when you first arrived at this institute, we saw only the dangers of your species' evolution. Today, you've shown us its true value. The board has decided to establish a permanent human sciences department, with you as its first director. Maya's heart skipped a beat. Director? But I'm still a student. A student who has fundamentally changed how we approach scientific research. Professor Venex interjected, their multiple limbs moving in patterns of approval. Your work has applications across multiple fields. The medical division is already adapting your findings to improve radiation treatments. The engineering department is revolutionizing their approach to extreme environment construction. But it was the next announcement that truly marked how far things had come. Administrator Vexixi's form rippled with what Maya now recognized as pride. Furthermore, the Galactic Science Council has approved a new initiative. The Centauri Institute will begin accepting applications from other human students, effective immediately. The hall erupted in approving gestures from dozens of species. Maya caught sight of Dr. Lin's bioluminescent tentacles flashing patterns of joy, while nearby, a group of energy beings pulsed with frequencies indicating excitement. Later that evening, Maya stood at her favorite spot by the observation window, watching the 3 suns of the Centauri system paint the station in ever-changing colors. Zix 427 joined her, their crystalline form refracting the light into beautiful patterns. Do you remember your first day here? They asked. When everyone thought you would accidentally destroy the station. Maya laughed. Hard to forget. Every movement I made set off safety protocols. And now look. Zix 427's crystals sparkled with amusement. 3 different departments are studying how to incorporate human adaptability into their safety systems. The warning signs that used to mark your quarters are being replaced with collaboration protocols. It's more than that, Maya said softly. We're not just being accepted, we're being understood. Every trait that made humans seem dangerous is being recognized for its potential to help others. A notification chimed on her datapad. The first applications from prospective human students were already arriving. Maya smiled as she read through them. Physicists, engineers, medical researchers, all eager to follow the path she'd opened. You know what the best part is? She asked Zix 427. Each of these applicants will bring their own unique perspective, their own way of turning so-called dangerous adaptations into tools for progress. The next generation of galactic science, Zix 427 agreed, built on understanding rather than fear. As Maya looked out at the stars, she thought about how far they'd come. The same characteristics that had once marked humans as dangerous death-worlders were now being studied and celebrated. Strength became protection, resilience became innovation, and adaptability became the key to solving problems that had stumped the galaxy's finest minds for generations. The Centauri Institute would never be the same, and neither would the relationship between humans and the wider galactic community. It hadn't been easy, but Maya had proven that being different wasn't a barrier, it was an opportunity. An opportunity to learn, to grow, and to build a future where every species' unique traits contributed to the advancement of all. As if to emphasize the point, a group of students from 6 different species passed by, deep in discussion about adapting human exercise techniques for various physiologies. Maya smiled. The age of the dangerous death-worlder was over. The era of collaboration had begun.